Ladies and gentlemen, Legionnaires, welcome to Heathen Dog's Tabletop RPG Fundamentals. Today we are going to talk about Star Trek Adventures. More specifically, we are going to talk about character generation. So let's just get to it. All right. First, let's look at the game itself. The publisher, Modiphius Entertainment, came out in 2017. Chief designer was Nathan Dowdle. And if you want to buy this yourself, which can't recommend only under specific circumstances, you can. You go to DriveThruRPG, you can get the hardcover and a PDF for $61.87. If you go to eBay, you can get the hardcover for $44.75. But if you go to Amazon, you can get the hardcover, and I checked it out, also the PDF for $37.86. So that's your good deal right there. That's where you want to be. Although currently Amazon shipping is about 28 to 35 days behind unless it's essential items. So bear that in mind. Okay? Bear that in mind.
I got to ask you a question.
Shoot.
Regarding this game. Okay. So I know your feelings on it. Anybody who can watch the last episode.
Yep.
If they rewrote the book in a manner that was actually like a technical manual, like you should write,
yep.
Would this be a fun game?
That is my main stumbling point on saying someone should buy this book. Because if you buy this book and you don't know anyone who already knows the system, you're going to have a bad time. You're going to have a bad time. Because the index was written by a 5-year-old, and all of the technical information is written in narrative form, which means it's as if a Commodore or an Admiral is telling your character the rules to the game in their universe, which is ridiculous. It's a great story, but it's horrible for learning information. Horrible. So yeah, if they did that, then yes, I would recommend people buy this because it has some really strong points to it. Character generation being one of them. So speaking of character generation, let us check out what we're going to look at today. We're going to look at the life path creation. There's 2 different ways to make a character in this game. The life path creation and the gameplay creation. The life path creation is the suggested form, because you go through in the beginning before your character is, sees the light of day on day 1. He or she is completely made. Okay. In order from where you were born to your current assignment. The gameplay creation is you create some of your character, and the first day's gameplay rounds out all of the missing pieces, which is harder. Unless you have a seasoned group, I don't recommend that section of character creation. So I'm going to stick with life path. Now, in the life path creation, all of your attributes start at 7. All of your disciplines start at 1. Now, your attributes are, just like any of the attributes in any other role playing: strength, dexterity, stamina, wisdom, whatever. 7 is not average because the max you can start off with is 12. All right. But you are Starfleet. They have standards. This isn't the average population here. Okay. These are higher standards. So minimum, you're gonna have 7 in everything. And your disciplines start at 1. Now, discipline at 1 means you are trained, just not experienced at all, because Starfleet trains you for everything. Now, whether you use that or not, well, that's circumstance or where you're stationed or your aptitudes, whatever. But Starfleet makes sure you have proper training before they put you out of Starfleet Academy. Now, your maximum discipline level can be 9 at character generation. And you can only have, 5 at character generation. You can only have 1 5. Just like your attributes, your maximum's 12, but you can only have 1 12. So if you have a 5, your next discipline stat can only be as high as 4. If you have an attribute of 12, your next highest attribute can only be as high as 11. I mean, if you can wing it, you can have all 11s after that first 12, but I don't think you're going to wing that because that's not how this works. Now, like I said, this is a flowchart type character generation. So you go from where you were born all the way through your early life events, how you were raised, Starfleet Academy, what you learned, and then two things that happened during your career that shaped you into the officer you are now at the start of the game. And don't worry, we're going to go through all that. The first thing we're going to go through is species. What race are you? And just to let everyone know, I randomly rolled everything.
Now, how many species does this include?
It depends on the time frame that you want your game to be in. If you're going original series, obviously there's no Trill, there's no Betazoid, there's no a lot of stuff, because in the original series they had Vulcans, Andorians, Tellarites, Denoblians, humans, and that was basically it. Now you get into later on, you get into TNG, then you or stuff like that, then more races open up. I'm doing mine. I rolled on TNG because in this book, that gives you the most options. Betazoid, Trill. You can't do races that are not in Starfleet. You cannot roll races that are not in Starfleet. So I couldn't get a Klingon or a Romulan or a Gorn or a Tholian. You can't roll that because they're not in Starfleet.
Oh,
I'm sorry,
Tholian?
They're not in the Federation, so they can't be in Starfleet.
Well, if I can't play a Tholian, I'm not playing this game.
Well, then move along. There you go. Now the environment, unlike the Tholians, where it's not a horrible temperature environment, we are talking about where you were raised. This is where your parents raised you. Could be on your home planet, could be on a colony world, could be on a ship, could be on a starbase, could be a lot of stuff. I'm going to roll that one too. And then your upbringing. This is how you grew up. You grew up influenced by the people around you. And how did they influence your upbringing? We're going to find out. And then when you hit Starfleet Academy, what did you study? Were you red shirt for days? Red shirt all the way? Red shirts for life? Hashtag that, red shirts for life. But maybe you were command. Maybe you were sciences. I don't know. We're going to find out. And then your career length. You have to choose, are you a brand new officer? Are you an experienced officer? Or are you a veteran officer? Now, the thing is, in this one, there's no roll. I had to choose one. Can't roll it. So I chose one. And then we got career events. 2 events out of a long list of random things that happened to you during your career and how it shaped you and made you stronger. And then after that, we do the finishing touches. We add up all of the bonuses, put in all the minuses, put it on a character sheet. Bob's your uncle. There you are. Done deal. So let's look at...
Did you play the original FASA version of Star Trek?
No, I did not. The only other version of Star Trek I played was the tabletop game.
Oh, the Star Trek 3 Combat Simulator?
Yes.
That was fun.
I know it was fun. It was like Monopoly long, but it was fun.
It's like BattleTech, but in space. No,
Yeah.
The reason why I ask is I can't remember. I know in Twilight 2000, completely different game, it was like that, but I can't remember if the original Star Trek, I think it had those kind of like life paths. Like you could keep doing, I want to enlist for another 4 years. Let's see what happens to my character. But I can't remember.
And I wouldn't know. I never played it. That's too bad. Oh. Duncan says it's easy. I made a human character and then changed the name to the species to tardigrade. That is not a race you can be.
Well, he just made it up. He modified
Hey, you know what?
game.
If you're the game master, you can modify the game all you like, because unlike tractors, the creator does not have control of everything to do with the ins and outs of this game. And yes, that was
I got
that was a right to repair hit. There you go. All right. Topical. There you go. Topical indeed. All right. Let's move on to species. Okay. So you're rolling species. You don't want a whammy, because to me, the whammy would be Tellarite. I hate Tellarites. They're little troll things. If you look below Max Liao over there, the Tellarites on the far right. Look at them. Ugly mug. Look at that thing. It's like nightmare fuel. It's awful. So I wouldn't want to be a Tellarite at all. So you can either select your species or roll. Each species will add 3 different attributes. It'll add +1 to 3 specific attributes, depending on what you roll. If you roll an Andorian or choose an Andorian, you get a +1 to daring, control, and presence, because they're very brash and loud people and very confident. If you're a human, you get to add +1 to any 3 attributes of your choice. Not all the same one, no. +1 to 3 different attributes. And as you gain your species as a trait. Traits in this game are descriptors of your character, either generally or specifically. In this case, your trait being your species is a general descriptor of you. If you also lose an arm, one of your traits will be has only one arm. Or if you get a bionic arm, your trait will change from has only one arm to has one bionic arm. So it's just a descriptor to help you and the game master properly roleplay your character. It's fine. And then you gain a talent. On page 135 of this book, there are general talents. As long as you meet the requirements, which is why I put an asterisk there, as long as you meet the requirements, you can choose any talent from the general area at this time. All right, so what did I roll? I rolled a trill. Now, if anyone has not seen DS9, the trill is a species that there are two different intelligent species on their planet. The trill, which is the humanoid species, and the symbiont, which is a slug type species that merges with the trill, and then their personalities and knowledge and memories merge into one. So being a trill, you get a +1 to your control, presence, and reason. And you get the trill trait because you are the race trill, and you get a talent. I chose the trill specific talent of joined. If you're going to be a trill, you're going to be joined with a symbiont. I mean, that's just, why not? I mean, why wouldn't you? So being joined, once per mission, I can call upon the deep memories, the hundreds of years of memories stored in the symbiont to gain focus on for a single scene on any topic I want. Focus increases your target number range. So it basically gives you a +1 to any skill you choose for that entire scene. You can do that once per game mission. Once per mission. You can do that.
So it's kind of a form of luck.
No, it's more like a I want to say a once per mission machina type thing, I guess. I mean, something happens like, oh no, I have that in my pocket, stuff like that. That's basically what this is. Oh, one of my former hosts 120 years ago was an expert in that field, so I can do this. It's like
I guess the machina makes sense. I mean, some games call it luck, some games call it karma, whatever. But, but I get what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. All right, so got the species, got the trill. All right, what do we got now? Sounds like the plotline to Stargate. Yeah, okay, I can get that. Trills probably are drug addicts so they can sleep. No, the symbiont actually shuts down when the host needs to sleep for that very reason. And they don't say that in the series. I actually read that in a DS9 book because I'm a super nerd. All right, so let's move on to the environment. This is where you were born, where your parents had you, hatched you, laid you, whatever. So I rolled, because you can choose or roll from homeworld, busy colony, isolated colony, frontier colony, a starship or a starbase, or on another species homeworld. All of these are options. You roll a 6-sided dice, you find one. Now, each of these gives you an attribute increase. All of them are different depending on the location where you grew up. On your homeworld, it is any attribute that your species trait gives you during character generation. So for example, the Andorian we talked about earlier, if you were also not only Andorian but raised on Andoria, you would get daring, presence, and what was the other one?
Oh my god,
daring, presence, and control.
Thank you.
You could choose one of those to get another +1. If you're a human, you can choose a +1 from anything because humans get to choose anything. There you go. You also get a discipline increase. Again, it's different depending on the location that you were raised on. For instance, an isolated colony, you get a +1 to either engineering, science, or medicine. You get to choose, but only one of those 3 disciplines or skills will get the bonus because of your environment. Now, you also gain a value. Now, values are the flavor that actually affects the game. All right. A value is what your character believes. Now, I'm explaining this because back in when I did the system, I glossed over this and I didn't really hit it. So I'm going to hit it now. And the game wants you to make up your own. For example, James Kirk, one of his values is
green chicks.
doesn't believe in the no-win scenario.
Hmm.
That means when he is faced with a no-win scenario, he gets bonuses to overcome them, because this is, his core beliefs gives him the extra drive to win. And that's called determination. But don't worry, when we get to determination, I'm going to explain that too. So what did I roll? I rolled Starbase. Well, I rolled Starship or Starbase, and then I got to choose Starbase. So what do I get for being born and raised on a Starbase? I get an attribute bonus of +1 control. That's what I chose. You actually get 3, but I chose control as my one. And as discipline, a +1 security. And the value I got was people person. Now, I chose this because I have, being on a starbase, a busy starbase, as a kid growing up, I have experience with lots of exotic species and exotic cultures. I can get on and get along with all of them.
So not as a
much
role-playing challenge.
No, it just makes it easier. It doesn't give you a win. It just makes it a little bit easier.
I figured playing people person would be a role-playing challenge for you.
No, not at all. Not at all. I can lie like the best of them.
Oh, okay.
And that's what negotiation is. Structured lying. All right. So I get a bonus when meeting a new person, or meeting a culture I've never experienced before, or negotiating with a culture that no one's ever done before. Stuff like that. So first contact situations or stuff like that, I would be great at. And the talent I chose was constantly watching. I get a talent. It's below the line. How'd that happen? It's below the line. I'm sorry. If you look underneath me, you also gain a talent. And again, it's a talent that from page 135, any of the general talents, you get to choose one as long as you make the prerequisites. I chose constantly watching. When detecting danger or hidden enemies, I reduce the difficulty of that roll by 1. Now, reducing difficulty means I need 1 less success to succeed. So instead of probably 2 successes, I would only need 1 success to succeed, which is great. It's a really good deal. Oh, he picked constantly watching too. Good job. All right. Lily says, so you have all the space STDs. Yes. Yes, I do. But they got a shot for that. I got a hypo spray for that. We're good. All right. Now, upbringing. This is how you were influenced during your formative years, and you're influenced by your environment. So this is what your parents did. Your parents or guardian or whatever, whoever raised you, they're the ones who influenced you, because there's no more TV in the future. Now you get bonus attributes depending on if you rebelled or not. Okay, if you accepted your parents' teachings, you get these bonuses. If you rebelled against your parents' teachings, you get those bonuses. For example, if your parents were Starfleet, true and true, and you accepted the Starfleet way of life from the beginning, you get a +1 to fitness and a +2 to control for this upbringing. But if you rejected Starfleet and said, to hell with Starfleet, I don't want to be like you, old man, I'm going to make my own way, then you get +1 insight and +2 daring. It's different for each upbringing, but they have 2 choices, accepted or rebelled. And then you get yourself a discipline increase, depending on, again, which upbringing you roll or choose. You gain a focus and a talent. A focus depending on which upbringing you choose, but a talent, again, like I said, page 130. I'm going to say page 135 a lot. And any of the talents there that you meet the prerequisites for, you can choose at this time. So what did I roll? I rolled business or trade. My parents were in the self-sealing stem bolt business. All right. That's great. I rebelled against that because that's boring as shit. And I wanted to go into Starfleet, but they didn't want that because they wanted me to take over the family business. I rebelled. I gained +1 reason and +2 insight for that rebellion. And for the discipline, I gained +1 command. And the focus I took is negotiation because, the people person thing, I figure I might as well add on to that, right? And that's the point of the life path creation process. You add on to what you got before. So in the previous species and birthplace, I now choosing things to add on to make my character better, grow at a logical pace, rate, and way throughout the character creation process. And talent, I took advisor. I figure this is like my parents still would have me work in the family business. Then I would reject it. So I would learn to be in an advisory role, or probably an emeritus member of the board or something. Stuff like that. And when you're assisting someone using your command discipline, the other person gets to roll an extra d20 on whatever task you're assisting them on, which is great. They love that stuff. Duncan Idaho's character was raised by a black market smuggler, and he rebelled for Starfleet because it had better bonuses. See, I'm not doing the min-max here. I'm not doing that. This is all random rolls. All random rolls.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Characters are more important than numbers.
Bam. All right. Now, academy and career length. What did I roll? Normally you would choose which track you took as Starfleet Academy: command, operations, or sciences. I rolled because, damn it, I rolled. And after that, you have to choose your career length. Are you going to be a young officer, experienced, or veteran officer? Now, you don't roll that one. They don't have rolls. You have to choose one. Now, it says if you're doing the life path creation, it's best to start with experienced officer. But they said ultimately it's between you and the game master. So I decided to choose. What did I choose? Well, let's find out. I rolled command, luckily. Oh man, if I rolled science, I'd have been so screwed. I rolled command. It was awesome. So value. Everyone has something. Now, when I say that, this is what it means. I believe that everyone is good at something, and your job in life is to find out what you're good at, grab on, hold on tight with both hands, and run with it.
Question about that value. Is that an additional value?
Yes, it is an additional value.
Okay.
Is an
Just
additional
clarifying.
value. Yes. All these values stack. It's just like I said, it's adding on to your character as we continue this process. There is no reduction here. Okay. And attributes, I get +2 daring and +1 insight. Disciplines, I get +2 for command, +1 engineering, and +1 medicine. And for my focuses, I chose, you can choose anything from command or general. I chose Starfleet protocol, to know Starfleet protocol. I chose diplomacy and composure. The composure is good for any situation. It's good for a boardroom. It's good for negotiations, and it's good when you're getting shot at by Romulans. All right. Composure is
what did you do to the Romulan?
I probably shot him first because Romulans are snakes. And
how do I mute you?
You can't. And I chose veteran. I chose veteran because, damn it, I want rank. And when you choose your career length, you get another value. I chose Starfleet has your back. Now, this value is because everything that has happened to him, every scrape he's been in, every problem that's happened, every bad thing that's ever happened since he's been in Starfleet, his comrades, his fellow officers, and Starfleet in general has been in his corner. Unlike other officers, other places, he has never, ever had something happen to where it felt like Starfleet betrayed him or anything. Starfleet has always had his back. So he's always going to trust in that because it's a core value. And his talent is veteran officer. And when you spend determination, okay, here's determination. It goes hand in hand with value, okay? Whenever one of your values becomes important to a role, let's say that Starfleet has your back. Let's say I am left on the planet, and the shuttle pod goes up, and the atmosphere is ionized, and they can't transport me out. They say, hey, we're being attacked by Romulans right now. I'm saying Romulans a lot, but I hate them. And we will come get you as soon as possible. Hunker down and hold tight. And Romulans are bearing down on my position. I will hunker down and hold tight because the Starfleet has my back, and I'm never going to doubt that. I can use a point of determination to make sure that comes true. And determination will actually decrease the target number of any task that is toward that goal, that goes with your value. Now,
for a story hook, can that value be used against you?
Yes, I was just going to say that. Now, to gain more determination, the game master can challenge your value. For example, Starfleet has your back. In that same scenario, I have 27 civilian colonists, and the odds of all of them surviving this Romulan assault are very low. But if I turn off my communicator and disobey orders and get them to a different cave system, it's more likely that more of them will survive. Now, the game master will offer you a point of determination if you break your value. Just this one time. Ooh. But if you stay strong, keep your value, then okay, fine. That it's a way for the game master to challenge your character, because values can change through the course of gameplay. Your character can be convinced that his core value is outdated, wrong, or just plain stupid through gameplay, and they can change. I like that about this game. I really do. And when you are a veteran, you get a rank of at least lieutenant commander. That's lieutenant commander, commander, or captain. You can't go above captain. You can't be commodore or admiral or whatever. You can't do that. As a player character, you can't do that. All right, so what do we got next? We got career events. You roll. Now, this is the only part so far that you cannot choose. Cannot choose. At all. You have to roll 2d20 and take your two career events. These are things that happen to you in Starfleet in your career. For example, if you roll a 1, your ship was destroyed, but you survived. What happened there? How did that happen? And you get bonuses and whatever, you learn from the experience, you get stronger, stuff like that.
A couple of mental issues, a psychosis or two,
Actually, that's the one thing I don't like about this game, is during character creation, even if you roll something just demonstrably bad as the ship you served on being destroyed, you get no minuses throughout any. It's only positives. You only get positives from any of these things.
This game needs a little influence from Palladium.
Yeah, I believe it. So this is your big chance. This is your chance to break out. Okay, if you can make a really good story for these events, you can actually get some really cool core values out of this. All right. And it's a chance to tell your character's story in a really dramatic or awesome way. Now, what did I roll? I rolled conflict with a hostile culture and required to take command. Now, of course, the hostile culture is going to be Romulans. This is what happened. I was a junior negotiator. I was a lieutenant junior grade. Okay. I've been in the service maybe 3-4 years. Tops. And I was a junior negotiator because of my skills to a negotiating team sent to a Romulan colony to negotiate for some mineral rights or something. Well, the Romulans never had any intention of giving us anything. They just wanted to get a starship there so they can take it over and bring it back to Romulus for nefarious ends. So we were there. We were obviously unarmed. And we were attacked by a Romulan assassin squad. Now, obviously, I survived. But I learned something. Number 1, +1 fitness and +1 security. And
aren't you a people person? That's how the Tal Shiar say hello.
Yeah,
She just said hello back.
Yeah, I didn't have a gun to say hello back. They had disruptors. And since I did not have a weapon and found myself in grave danger, I learned myself some judo. That's right. I now have a focus on hand-to-hand combat. So whenever I'm in hand-to-hand combat, I get a +1 to my target number for any rolls. And required to take command. Okay, this is the same event. This is the same thing. I just molded it in together. We were finally we escaped our Romulan assassins. We were able to be beamed up to the ship. But when we were beamed up, it turned out when I got to the bridge, I was the senior officer on the bridge at that time. There was no communication with engineering. There was no communication in medbay. They could not get a hold of anyone who had more either rank or time in rank than I did, and was a bridge officer. So I had to take command and get the ship out of there. Exactly what I did. I didn't fight the Romulans and destroy them and win the day. No, I ran. I ran away. Live to fight another day. It rhymes for a reason, people. Okay? I ran like a coward because cowards live. And I was responsible for
Starfleet's got your back.
Exactly. And I was responsible for like 300 people at that time. So I got out. That's what I did. But in doing so, I gained 1 daring, 1 command, and the focus of inspire confidence.
Wait,
because
how do you gain a daring for running away?
It's how I ran away. Use some kind of weird maneuvers to chase them through a Mutara Nebula, whatever. You gain daring and 1 command. And the focus of inspire confidence. Because when I hit that bridge, no one thought we were going to live. Oh, look, Lieutenant Junior Grade what's-his-name is taking the con. Oh, awesome. I got my will, right? Yep. But no. I made my little speeches, did my thing, did my song and dance, made some good moves, and I learned my inspire confidence. So when I want to inspire confidence in others around me, I get a +1 to my target number to do so. Awesome. Awesome. Run like a girl. No, Ravensler, that is sexist. Run like Usain Bolt. That's not sexist because he's man. It's just he's the fastest dude I can think of that runs. Running away is often the best way to protect people. That's true. That is absolutely true, especially when you're responsible for the lives of hundreds of people. A people person that beats up people up when people do not listen to him. Interesting. No, it's smart. Baldahar, smart. You start with diplomacy. You always have a stick behind your back. That's what negotiation is. Structured lying.
Was it talk softly and carry a big stick?
There it is.
Or phaser?
Well, in this case, phaser, yes. All right, now we have the finishing touches. This is where it all comes together, people. There's no rolling here because this is your flair. This is your chance to put flair on it. All right, you get to choose 1 more value. You get to check your attribute and discipline caps. Remember, in the beginning, I said you cannot have any attribute above a 12 and only 1 attribute at a 12. You can only have a highest discipline of 5 and only 1 discipline of 5. Now, after you've made sure all of that is true, okay, then you get a +1 to 2 different attributes. Still not breaking the caps. Now, if you do, because it is possible to have a 7 discipline coming out of this. It's random rolls. You can get +1 security, +2 security, +1 security, +2 security. That could happen. You have to bring it down to 5. And if you have another 5, you have to bring that 5 down to 4. But every point you took away, you get to choose to put those points anywhere else you want, as long as it doesn't break the cap. Same thing with attributes. If you roll in your life path creation a certain way, you can get over a 12 in an attribute. You take it down to 12, and you put those points 1 for 1 in any other attributes you want. Now, when you're all done, another thing about this character creation that I really love, it's really easy to know when and where you screwed up. You add up all your attributes. If they don't add to 56, you did something wrong. You add up all your disciplines. If they don't add up to 16, you did something wrong. If you don't have 4 values, 4 talents, and 6 focuses, you did something wrong. And you know exactly where you did it wrong, which is great. Unlike games like Champions, where, oh crap, all of my math over here is correct, but when I put it on the character sheet, I'm 1 point over. Where did that point come from?
Start from scratch.
And you got to start from scratch, do all your math over again to figure out where the hell that point came from and where you made the mistake. Where in this game, if one of the numbers don't add up, you know exactly where you messed up and you can go back and find it. I love that. Okay, now, after this point, you calculate stress and damage bonus. Stress is a combination of vitality and wound threshold. I mean, if you've played other D20 systems, you know what vitality is. If you played Earthdawn, you know what wound threshold is. They're a combination of both. I got into that during the system. And then you get your details: the name of your character, hair color, height, weight, moles, scars, whatever. Your visual backstory, basically. And then you choose your rank and role, and then your starting equipment. So here's what it looks like when it's all put together. What did I choose? Value. The value I chose is truth can be opinion. Because he learned that every race sees and or accepts facts differently. For example, Tellarites. If you give them information freely, they won't believe you. If you make them think they worked for it, if you make them think they uncovered it, that they outsmarted you and got you to say these things without you wanting to, they will believe it.
That's got to be some sort of oxymoron somewhere. A Tellarite outsmarting anyway.
I know. But as just an example, I mean, other species have these things where, you know, if you tell them something, you have to tell them something in the right way for them to accept it, or else they will reject it, even if it's true the universe over. Demonstrably true. They will still say you're lying because you didn't form it in a way that they could swallow. So when doing that, he gets a bonus. Also, he gets the +1 to fitness and daring, because those are the two I chose, and +1 to security and engineering, because those are the two disciplines I chose. And I chose my rank as commander, because damn it, go big or go home. I do not recommend any player character be the captain. Completely will kill the group dynamic. You have one person who is all-encompassing in charge. He is always calling the shots, no matter what. It's going to be weird. All right, especially if you have a group that's not experienced with that kind of power structure. It's going to be weird. So let the game master be the captain as an NPC. Let that happen. All right? Give the other players a means to go over your head or around your helmet or whatever. And the role I chose is bridge officer. He is the captain of the night shift. So, you know, captain and first officer got to sleep, right? They're usually awake at the same time. Well, who's in charge of the ship? Well, sometimes in the Enterprise, that's Data, because Data doesn't have to sleep. Well, on my ship, that's me.
Give it to a yeoman.
I'm night crew, baby. That's how it works.
You got the janitors are in there sweeping around you, and
Maybe so. Or the little robots. Maybe they have little high-tech Roombas. like in the Bruce Willis movie. Oh crap. Something about. Okay, throw it up in chat.
not talking Fifth Element, are you?
Fifth Element. There you go. Those little droids that clean up things. Yeah, those guys.
God, it's been so long since I saw that movie.
All right, so let's take a look at my character sheet, and I will embiggen it so everyone can see. All right, so my name is Jalen Tanos, and I'm a Trill. Grew up in a starbase. My assignment is to a starship. The game master will say which starship and the name of it and the background, all that stuff. My rank is commander. I have a business upbringing. And of course, my only trait right now, the only defining trait of my character is Trill. That is unchanging because you can't change your race. And my attributes, 9, 8, 9, 11, 10, 9. Disciplines 5, 4, 1, 1, 3, 2. Now, what's really interesting is that I got my 5 command and a 4 security, and I didn't have to adjust anything. It just turned out that way. The rolling turned out that way. There you go. Now, the stress. I'm going to show you the stress. Stress is a figured characteristic of fitness and security added together. Stress is your vitality. When you reach 0 stress, you become injured. Injured is a state where you can basically do nothing, another injury, and you will die. If you take 5 damage or more from a single attack, you get an injury. Then, if you get to 0 stress after that, you take another injury automatically at 0 stress, and you die. All right, so stress is pretty important. And determination. Everyone starts with 1 determination. As the game master challenges you, you can gain or lose these throughout actual gameplay, but you start with 1.
How easy is it to take that 5 points of damage
It's
at one time?
It's not easy. It's not. For example, that phaser type 1 that you see in my weapons. Now, if you remember the first 2 seasons of the Next Generation, they had those phasers that fit in your palm that you press with your thumb, in between your thumb and your forefinger. Pew, pew, pew. You remember those? Those super tiny ones?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. These things have 2 challenge dice of damage. I get a +4 because you always add your security rating to whatever weapon damage that you have. So I get 6 dice. Rolling a 1 gives you 1 damage. Rolling a 2 gives you 2 damage. Rolling a 3 or 4 is no damage on that die. A 5 and a 6 is 1 damage plus an effect. So for the 2/3 of the dice you roll will have damage on them, 1/3 will not. So 2 of the dice out of my 6 I'm rolling will roll blank, give no damage. And the other 4 dice will most likely be 1 damage, maybe 2. So at best I can hope for 4 damage with that type 1 phaser. And a type 2 phaser, the ones you see later on in TNG, the ones that take up the whole hand and have that weird ergonomic grip thing, those are only an extra die. So instead of 6, it would be 7. So it's only 1 extra die. So maybe I could roll 5 on that one. Maybe. But remember, people can have armor. Races can have natural armor, like Gorn have natural armor. Or you can have armor on like Klingons. Klingons wear armor all the time. Takes away damage right off the top. So yeah. So getting 5 or more damage isn't as easy as you think. All right, let's take a look at the chat now. Fifth Element. Thank you very much, everyone, for saying Fifth Element. Starfleet does have exocomps. Yes, they do. My character would have Xanax and an insulin pump. No stress problems for Baldahar. Yeah. Okay. All right. Duncan says, yo, I ain't going to die today. I ain't going to die tomorrow. I'm going to die age 204 fighting Kalis himself for the last lazy boy in the nursing home. Y'all want a shot at that lazy boy? We running. That's funny.
I think that sounds like you too.
It would. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's awesome. All right. So let's go back to normal mode. And that is it. That you now have a character in Star Trek Adventures. And if you want to choose instead of rolling, I got lucky a lot. I mean, I would have rather liked human because I'm a humanist. I would have chosen human. But I didn't get Tellarite. So, you know what? I'm going to call that a win. So everything else I was pretty lucky with. It really flowed. I really liked it. So, yeah, that was it. And I want to thank everyone for coming by. I really appreciate it. And tell me what you thought of my Tabletop RPG segment. You can go ahead and throw that in Discord and Twitter. And what do you think about Star Trek Adventures? Now, go back and watch all my previous stuff so you can answer this question. What do you think not only of my segments on Star Trek Adventures, but Star Trek Adventures itself? I think the book was written by an idiot, published by a fool, and thought up by someone who is heavily on several spectrums. That's what I think. All right. But maybe you don't. Maybe you have the PDF by hook or by crook. I don't know. Maybe you have the PDF and you look through it like, oh, it makes perfect sense. And this heathen dog idiot's a freaking moron. Okay, maybe so. Go ahead and throw that in Twitter. Go ahead and throw that in Discord. That's fine. And if you like this video and want more, you can watch all the stuff on YouTube, on the VODs. Make sure to like and share with your friends who like tabletop games. This really helps our channel. I really like to do that. And remember to subscribe to the Legion of Myth Anime, Comics, and Games. And oh yeah, remember, be a Legionnaire.